Returning about a year on to addressing that inevitable question postulated to the, in inverted commas, conspiracy theorist. How does a small group manipulate the millions that inhabit the realm? Not until this is answered can the solutions be looked for. I hypothesize that it is primarily through psychological means. Disenfranchisement from the most basic truths. What the earth is and we as human beings. As shown, this has been the role of NASA, Disney, the British Broadcasting Network and all key media outlets. Even the supposedly open and infinite pathways of the internet are policed, with a few names dominating: YouTube, Twitter and Google. No need to go into the obvious connections with the owners of these conglomerates. The hierarchical structure of a corporation in this way encompasses everyone else who chooses, but more often is obliged, to use these services to tap information. It is also derived from the Catholic Church, where the nuns and monks at the bottom, given the materials to work with, books and maps, chosen by the bishops and cardinals, the dark magicians at the top, with Masonic agendas adverse to Christianity, steeping down in misinformation and amended texts. So the academics of the time would be prepped for the bombshell, the Copernican globe psyop. A pyramid, by definition, elevates individuals amongst their peers, not based on merit, as Thatcherite capitalism would have you believe, but by degree in the structure based on favoritism from those immediately above, and ultimately the bloodlines and eugenics. It is likely many abusive leaders in this world are genuinely convinced of their superiority. So there is a scenario where the appointed gods of scientism speak, through the politicians, from a place of secrecy, and the public absorb the lies through the TV and radio. It can be seen how certain groups initiate and toughen up, in a bad way, their own children, keeping them jealously safe, not for any familial reason, but because they represent the necessary link to keep the centuries-old power grab going. Consider all the stories of royalty and their heirs, organised marriages, etc. The British Victorian public school system encapsulated these motives. From the age of 7, a future, say, Prime Minister, Colonel, Member of House of Lords, people of influence, is taken from family and society to these Phoenician castles and mansions. Normalized corporal punishment, the lack of women, and dark rituals were a breeding ground for trauma. Clearly, none or few of these buildings were intended as schools or universities when built. Meanwhile, the middle classes have been coddled and distracted, a different theme each decade. Of course, everyone in the 1990s preferred to watch really well-made family entertainment in the early evenings than investigating the latest legislation passed by Tony Blair or the war in the Middle East. Despite which the news only provided Eurocentric propaganda, hidden weapons, and fanatics living in caves plotting to take over the world. Unfortunately, watching this stuff has a dumbing down effect. Programs like The Generation Game and Gladiators promote materialism while flashing esoteric symbolism to be absorbed subliminally. The people responsible for creating these shows, in fact, look down on those that watch them. Talking solutions to reverse this process and or stop the machine from turning, to involve an understanding of creation that everyone would have had pre-1500s, with the added benefit of learning something from the deception. This has, of course, already begun. Most violence tends to play into the drama and negativity rather than replace it, especially when rallies and demonstrations are co-opted and controlled. This is not to say it isn't sometimes necessary as a last resort, but not voting or listening to the news or watching TV or mainstream films and radio goes a long way. Taking extra care in the understanding that the algorithm is biased in pushing you in one direction. Choosing creativity and useful skills. Communicating with other people. Not looking at the phone while walking down the street. It has become a state of hypnosis. These devices are not compatible with the organic system. A number of alarming fads have emerged in the last 5 to 10 years. These do not come about organically, but in a whole-scale way. One of them is women walking around in yoga pants made of harmful plastic microfibers. Another is vape pens, a mystery liquid being pushed on every high street. Supposedly an alternative to tobacco, but more likely another addiction and money drain. Note the Masonic number 33 and the sort of imagery they choose to put on their products. Speaks for itself.